Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new edition of the Triple Trail, our weekly look at all things global racing through the Hong Kong lens with the best form analyst in the business and Clint Hutchison and the Hall of Fame jockey in Raymond Shane Dye. And Hutch here in Australia, we're in the middle of Cup Week, but they're not far away from the Hong Kong international races as well.
No, we're not. It's been a fantastic week here in Melbourne and hopefully we get some sort of representation from here in the international races. Only about a month away. We'll be up there in a month. Can't believe it. Great weekend racing in Hong Kong. We had Holly Doyle get a winner. We're going to talk about that and a lot more. But starting to heat up now, the racing in Hong Kong. It's a really good meeting this weekend.
It's fantastic. Welcome to you, Shane. We've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, what a great week. Jamie Carr winning the Melbourne Cup. What a great ride. Fantastic day. And it's just a unique race, isn't it, the Melbourne Cup, Richo?
Yeah, well, you know better than anyone. You've been talented enough to win the great race, the Melbourne Cup. But we had history, of course, at Flemington with Jamie Mellon, the first female rider to win the Cup stubble with the Caulfield Cup into the Melbourne Cup. But here on the Triple Trail, there's been a whole stack of highlights. Check them out.
But 1, 3 and 6 would be my numbers there.
It's Purton and Bowman. They both have a double. Who's going to get the treble? Harmony and Bless lifting on the inside. And it's 3 for Purton.
And he's just going to sit in behind, off them, back a bit and come late, you would think.
10 Tyrus explodes through for Zara. Took the front. Draws clear from My Gladiola. 10 Tyrus is pounding away. And 10 Tyrus a spectacular win.
He stands out to me. He wins. If he runs the distance, he wins.
It's Observer. He might not need to run it. I think the race will be run to suit him.
Observer, 100 to go. Ritzy's teeth. Led 3/4 Arcora. Observer's holding them. He's the stronger. He's the winner.
Just some of the highlights from last week's show. We've got a huge show coming up, including our special guest in Karis Teetan and all the usuals, including the Idol, where Shane keeps his eye on everything that's coming up in from a jockey's point of view with his votes. Inside Running with James Ross as well. Best bets, a whole lot more. But let's first find a stack of winners and we identify a couple of races on Sunday at HUTCHI'S. We start with race number 7, which is the highlight, Hutch, the Group 3 race, the Sa Ladies Purse.
Yeah, it's always a great day in Hong Kong, the Sa Ladies Purse, and you know things are heating up. Like I said, when we get around, I've got encountered for Brent Crawford as favourite in this race. Early marked price is $4.20 over another lightweight chance, California Totality, something of an 1,800-metre specialist. Cap Ferrat, a very interesting fact is Zach gets on board, and Sunlight Power for Holly Doyle as well as an interesting runner. We'll have a look at a couple of runners here, Shane, and look, I thought there were a couple of good runs, and obviously Moments in Time's an interesting one, and Cap Ferrat caught a lot of people's eye because he was unlucky. He had nowhere to go late in the race.
Yeah, couldn't go anywhere. He didn't even have a run. It was actually probably beneficial because he had such an easy run, and a lot of horses can improve a lot. Like I see it all the time off a run like that. I think he's going to be very hard to beat here tomorrow, Cap Ferrat.
So that was one look. And what about Massive Sovereign? If we have a look at that as a form reference, Massive Sovereign running 4th, Ruby Lot, and also Bundle Award.
Yeah, an interesting race. I mean, the race that we just watched with My Wish, gee, I tell you what, it was some win from My Wish because the race shape probably set up for more of a back marker. They went hard. This race, they were 5 lengths to the 800 ahead of standard, then pretty much on standard. So Massive Sovereign, as Shane said at our last show, made an early move I thought was okay, and he battled on well enough. He'll be fitter. That's the good thing with regard to Massive Sovereign. Bundle Award's an interesting one, Shane. What do you make of both their chances here?
Well, he ran all right, Bundle Award. He got back and he's got a lot. He's not badly weighted still with 123 pounds. He's going to get back and run on. Here's the Happy Valley form with Encountered and, of course, Californiation Totality or whatever it's called. That's him in the blue outside. And the other horse, Encountered in the red, really hit the line well, Clint. Yep. And he has got Sharpen form too.
He does when he's right. That race there, he drops 13 pounds off that. He had the 7th best final 400 at 23.02 at 104% finishing efficiency. So he is ready to go. And I think with a lightweight, that's why I like Encounter. A lot of these races over the distance, you've got to be well positioned. Shane, I'd like to see him a little bit more positively ridden and counted. He doesn't need to get that far back. I think he's going really well for the stable. He's ready to win. But I don't want to see him get too far back in this race. They got a nice long run early in the race, and I think they've got to be a little bit more positive than they've been.
It's actually not too much pace. I know Pray For Me will go, and of course horses like Moments in Time will be forward, just looking at its sword point, but there's not too many leaders in it.
Yeah.
So they may not go as fast as people think this race.
So HUTCHI'S 14, 13, 4 and 6. Shane, what about you?
I'm going to go Massive Sovereign. I thought his first up run was really good. And I reckon he'll hit the line. He's got a good draw where he can tuck away midfield. Cap Ferrat and the two bottom ones, are the ones that Clint like. It's just hard to line their form up against the Sharpen form, but if they produce their runs with last runs with 115, they're right in it.
Yeah, Massive Sovereign. You rated it about $17, $18.
Yeah, look, this is a competitive race, but I'm leaning towards the horses that are getting the good weight, the weight pool. I think, as we've seen a lot of these good quality handicaps for some time now, it's those horses that get in well weighted.
Let's zoom over to race number 9, Hutch, and see if we can find the winner here of the 9th. Who do you like?
I like a horse by the name of 10 Foot. Little Paradise will be very popular, so I'm hoping I'll get a little bit of odds about 10 Foot because Little Paradise will be tough to beat. Genome Pride is super consistent, and Lucky Sam Gore for the stable are absolutely flying with back-to-back wins and may well make it 3 in a row. But here's Little Paradise. Shane, he's a horse going places, and he was very impressive here.
He's done a good job. All of his runs have been good, Clint. He's trialled since here, and he led at the trials and looked good. He's done nothing wrong. I think he'll race closer over 1,400 metres, and he's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, the booking of Zach stuck with him, and if you want to see the trial, go to the Jockey Club website, have a look at it. Very nice piece of work, and he's just still a bit of a work in progress. In fact, we'll show it ourselves here, and Boombox is also in the trial. Look, the horse out the back actually trialled okay, Shane, but he is a back marker and he always needs a little bit of luck, but he seemed to go pretty well, the Boombox.
Yeah, he's drawn gate 2 and going to 1,400. He might just race a little bit closer. His first up run was okay, but he's still got to improve to beat a couple here, I feel.
What about the 13 here, Hutch, and Lucky Sam Gore?
Yeah, absolutely flying Lucky Sam Gore. What's Lucky Sam Gore's shown is a really good turn of foot. I think he's just come back an improved horse this season as well. So he's striking a better quality of horse. He needs to raise the bar, Shane, but they've ridden him cold. He's powered through the line his last turn. I don't think they've got to the ceiling of him yet.
No, he's going to go a little bit higher, I think, this horse. And you've got to remember, he's only got 116 pounds. And if a couple go in this, he's going to sit back and he will quicken like he has. Only thing is he's got to change a jockey. Jerry was riding him really well, but he can't do the weight. But he's losing nothing in Ancini.
I want to show this replay. Have a look where Tin Fook is at this stage of the race. So he's midfield. He's effectively, 4 back the fence, but he's only 4 lengths off the leader. Now you'll see between the 800 and the 400, he goes from 7th, 8th position. And the horse in front of him drags him from midfield on the fence. Have a look at this. So by the time he gets to the 400 metres, through no fault of his own, he's actually, there you go, second last. Wow. Second last in the run. So he's lost 4 or 5 lengths through that mid-stage of the race. And at this point, he's nearly last. It takes a while to balance up, and then he finishes off strongly here. Shane, this was an enormous run, I thought, to get up and finish second. So he got dragged all the way back through the field mid-race. He got going late. Karis Teetan jumps on board and he's drawn a gate. So I just felt that his effort in defeat was tremendous. And this was also a day it was hard to make up ground. A lot of merit in that run.
Yeah, it was. It was a good run. I actually backed him first up the start before that when he ran third at about, I think he was 20-1 or something. He's definitely not the worst, Clint, and he's going well. His 2 runs back this time have been good.
Shane, who have you got on top?
I got the Lucky Sam Gore, number 13. I think he'll sit back and get over top of them from Lucky Paradise. A Nerd was a very good horse in Australia, raced on pace, and there's a possibility from gate 13 he could control this race. And if he does, he's improving every run. And, of course, Clint's top pick, Tin Fook, will run well.
Let's go to race number 10. Now, you put the pressure on Karis Teetan, our special guest. You've tipped him in 2 of our 3 races we're highlighting.
Can we make it a clean sweep?
No, you haven't.
All right, let's go Light Years Charm. This horse, he always needs a bit of luck, but I've got him marked favourite. Gee, Steps Ahead was impressive the other day. Got him second, like 6:20 in my early price. Eris Nova's going well. HUTCHI'S Spirit, super consistent. Another really competitive race. And we're going to take a look at the last performance. Gee, this was a nice win. Sorry, runner-up position there from Steps Ahead. Now, what was interesting about this race, the pace wasn't all that strong in it, and he was just out-sprinted. He then came out, of course, in a much stronger pace race and was just collared late. But he's going along well. Healthy Happy was in this race, Shane, and we've seen excuses for other runners. What did you make of Steps Ahead there?
I thought his last run he should have won. If Massive Sovereign doesn't take off and force him early, he waits that 100 metres longer and he wins. He's going good. He's got an awkward gait here though, Clint, but he is going well.
That he is. Next replay that we've got up. This should be a reasonable form reference. I mean, Eris Nova's closed off pretty well out wide there, so that was a nice performance. I mean, we've seen, of course, what Tomodachi Kokoro's managed to go on and do as well, Shane.
Yeah, he's going good, that horse. He's going better than I thought he would be. Last year he kind of got to his mark and that was it, but his runs this season have been good.
And Young Champion was just blocked at a vital stage there. Just a lot of bit of momentum. I know
is he the one?
So he's mine, yeah.
You know what? He's had a trial since that run and he trialled quite well too. He might be, I think he's ready. He's going the best he's gone all season.
Don't tell me.
You've got to jump back on board.
Don't tease me like this. Here's your top selection in Light Years Charm.
Yeah, well, this horse, he's another very exciting prospect. He ended last season with 3 consecutive wins. He can be slow away. He can track into the race and let down well. Now, first up behind My Wish, he had excuses. He was actually going to go very close in that race, Shane. Light Years Charm, what did you make of his chances here?
He's got a great chance. I don't know whether he would have won, Clint, but he definitely goes close. No one would know that because he was held up at about the 250. He's had 2 trials back. They've been okay. They've been easy. He's got gate 3. Where does he race? It depends on how he jumps because, as you said, he can miss it. He's going to be hard to beat, though, if you look at that first up run in his 2 trials.
Okay, so you've got the same box first 4 there.
That's what you've got to do. You know what to do.
That's right.
You've been given the instructions.
You know what you need to do is add in a 5th, and that is Young Champion, horse number 7. Remember who told you. Our star power guest is Karis Teetan on the other side. Our star power guest, Hutch, is one of our absolute favourites in Karis Teetan. What a character he is and what a gun jockey as well. And Karis, as always, mate, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. And look, by the look of it, you've got a busy morning this morning.
Yeah, morning, guys. Thanks for having me again. Yeah, I just have a couple of early morning work. So I took a little break to chat to you guys.
Oh, fantastic. And congratulations on the great achievement. So 300 winners at Happy Valley, that would give you a lot of satisfaction.
Yeah, thank you. I did not even realize it until I won the race, but yeah, it's been a great win from the horse. But also to get the 300 in Hong Kong, it's not easy. But I mean, the support I get from the trainers and the owners, I really appreciate it, and let's hope it continue.
Yeah, you had sort of a bit of a stop-start season last year, Karis, or the last couple of years, whether it be health or suspension or whatever. So I suppose, what's the main goal this year? Just to keep the momentum going?
Yeah, last season was like, stop and go, like you said. There's a lot of things that changed, due to the weight of the horses. It used to be 113 and it went to 115. And there was a lot of new jockeys. So there was a lot of things that came together and made a little tough season for me, but I'm just hoping this season now I've learned from that and try to get a bit more support. But it seems like I had a good start and just need to get more support.
Hey, Shane, what about that ride on Super Hong Kong by Karis?
Loved it. It was fantastic. Now, Karis, did you go out there planning to do that or it was the spur of the moment?
No, actually, I mean, I've done it on a couple of horses before. Even Casper afterward, he came to me. He's like, "Oh, you've done that on one of my horses before." Those small field. I've always had in the back of my mind that my horse can stay the distance, and this is the race we were waiting for since beginning of the season. And when I see, he's got no weight on his back, it all depends on the speed of the race. And when Tony Cruz horse missed the start, I thought, well, that's a perfect opportunity for me to make a move if I have to. And like you see, at the 1200, I already made my mind that I was gonna take off at the 1100 already.
Yeah, it was a great ride, Karis. Well done.
Right.
We've seen you do that a couple of times, like we've said, and making that mid-race move. But he does stay well, the horse, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's proven it before that he stays whole day, and to be fair, he did drop down the rating quite a lot, and that was his big advantage on the night. And like he won with some credit in hand.
Yeah, we know your time. The time is very precious to you, Karis. We're gonna run through your rides, and we're gonna have a chat about, of course, another incident you're involved with through the year. But just having a look at what rides you're riding this weekend, it looks like you've got a handy little book of rides, and I've actually tipped you to win with Encountered, and I've tipped you to win with 10 Forks. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts on those and others.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's true. I've got an open book of rides, but like you said, Encountered and 10 Fook definitely stand out. I think Encountered has definitely come back to his form this season, joining the Brett Crawford yard. So he's doing well. His last 2 run was really good. I think he's gonna go into this race with a big weight advantage. He has run in stronger company before, so I think he's a horse that have a chance in the race.
It seems like Brent Crawford's got him going really well. I mean, he's definitely sparked that old form, Karis.
Yeah, but Hong Kong, some horses when they move stable, sometimes they just something change, and it seems like he did this horse. He's found his mojo again, and he's letting down when we were putting pressure on him in the straight. So that's a really good thing. I don't know how long he's gonna maintain that, but for now he's really doing well, and let's hope he runs well on the weekend.
Talking about Brett Crawford, what about in race number 2 with Ka Ying Warrior?
Yeah, he's going well. Of course, he's a really tricky horse. He can over race sometime. So you really have to get him on his right time. And but he's going well. His trial has been really good. I must say he's been more relaxed in his trial compared to what I've seen in the past. What he's been doing, like sort of tearing away, where he's been more relaxed lately. So I think it's gonna make a big difference. He's got a nice gait and he's in good shape.
Karis, do you think he's got something under there? Because last season he had travelled well, and when they let him go, there was nothing there. This season he's the same. Looking at him, he looks as though he's got 5 lengths without looking him go. You've been on him. Do you think if you'd let him go, he would quicken? Because if he can, he'll be winning.
Yeah, I think he will, Shane. Like I said, he's more relaxed now. I think because he's relaxed, if you put pressure, he will go on. And I think his last trial, if I wanted to ask him to go, he would have responded well. So I will have this at the back of my mind that he can do that.
Race number 5, you got Tao Together. What are your thoughts?
He's a nice little horse. He's been trialing really nicely. I feel like he's got more improvement to come. But his last trial, like we saw now at Happy Valley, was a nice trial. I think he'll need to go further later on, but he's ready to start his racing season.
What about the whip rule breach, Karis? That no doubt is a big topic. How do you reflect on that and the suspension?
Yeah, I mean, it's something. Of course, it's a new rules where we had to adjust pretty quickly. After riding in Hong Kong for 12 years, it was something that I had to really adapt pretty quickly. And as you can see that I did have the 2 days suspension about a couple of weeks ago, and then I appealed it. We had the appeal yesterday, and it was cut down to 1 day and 30,000 Hong Kong. And I thought it was pretty fair. I thought the panel was fair. at the end of the day, I did break the rules, and the rules was there. But at the same time, like I had to explain, I'm still getting used to the new whip rules. It's a muscle memory thing. So there's a lot of things that we could put forward, and we sort of came to halfway and got a day and a half, got a day and 30,000. But for all the jockeys in Hong Kong, we are all still trying to get used to this new whip rules, and of course, especially like myself and Zach, who's been here for a long time. It's very difficult to I find to adapt pretty quickly.
Yeah, the key point there in that to change rules is consecutive strides. I feel for you, Karis, because when you watch the replay of you winning the race, it's almost exactly what you'd be asking a rider to do.
Yeah.
In terms of, I think he only got one reminder from you in the final 150 metres or so. Because you're a lot more, more consecutive strides earlier than that, and it is an adjustment.
Yeah.
This whip rules, all around the world we've got different ones. We've got them in England, we've got them here in Australia. I know Damien Lane was fined yesterday. I'm just not a fan of them in general, to be honest. The rule is difficult to understand. There's a perception rule, but in different jurisdictions, such as Australia, you can hit them, and in Hong Kong's the same. If it is a perception thing, then why in the last 100 metres is it a free-for-all?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, you mentioned perception. Well, let's start with a perception. Let's change it and use what they do in the UK, and that's the word crop. Because whip has bad connotations, doesn't it, straight away? If we're in the perception game, they're not whip rules, they're crop rules. Shane, what do you think?
I'm staying out of it, because if you get me going, I'll be here all day. It is the worst rule in racing. Take Damien Lane yesterday. Well, he should never have won the Oaks on Treasure Moment. Everyone in the world knows that horse wouldn't have won. And if you don't understand. And he kept the race. Yesterday, he did it again. He hit his horse more times than he was meant to. And if he hadn't hit it, it probably wouldn't have won. I'd say 99% it wouldn't have won. I've watched that race 10 times. So what happens to Damien Lane yesterday? He copped a 2,000 fine and 7 meetings over 6 days, which he was never riding at. So he hasn't lost a meeting because he's riding next week in Japan. So what happens to him? Nothing. And what about the punters who back the second horse? What about the owners of the second horse? If you've got a rule, and this is where I'm filthy on, you have to maintain it and keep it, but they don't in Australia. It's a waste of time, the rule. I just want every jockey to hit them as much as they can, because they're not going to take a race off you.
Well, the other thing, just heading back to what your case, Karis, was that your incident? How many times had you been warned before? Because I have seen other riders, like Hugh Bowman's had a number of warnings, and other riders have been warned a few times. How many times had you had any other warnings leading into that suspension?
No, that was actually, I had no warning. On the night, I had a warning of raising my hand above the shoulder, but that's a totally different incident compared to consecutive hitting. So I honestly had no warning prior to the 2-day suspension.
Yeah. And where it's bizarre also is rules for one, like a rule for a 2-mile race is the same rule for using the crop as it is over a 1,000-metre race.
We could actually have a whole show on it. I won't get Shane started, because I know he's starting to get wound up.
The best one was, I saw a jockey get fined because he hit it too many times in Australia one day before the 100, but he put the stick away at the 200, never hit it the last. He got it going and he won the race, and they fined him. Yet he hit it less than most jockeys in the race. Now work that one out.
Yeah, I think Sean Levy's statement was significant, isn't it? In the heat of the battle, you've got so much going on. The reality isn't always possible in every single race to know or recall in the heat of the battle.
That's
riding a racehorse at 40 miles an hour surrounded by other horses, how many times you've used your crop.
Well, and it's like, that's why I feel for Karis as well, in terms of, he's adjusting. You're adjusting to a new role. He rides a certain way. It's like playing a golf game with a certain swing. You've got to change all of a sudden, right? We don't know about that, but, well, maybe you do.
Well, I'm just...
That's a great... I've only just read that for the first time. That's a great summary and very true from a jockey. It's very hard to count. You got that much going on. You got the adrenaline going. It's not easy. And you're trying to win the race. And that was like Damien Lane in the AJC Oaks. He panicked and he had to get up to win the race, and he did. And good on him for winning it. But he broke the rules, and the second horse should have won. And the stewards did nothing about it. And if you want a rule, you have to maintain that rule, and it's not fair for everyone else.
written and authorised by Raymond Shane Dye, as always. Hey, Karis, normally we get you on and have a bit of fun, but as a serious topic, we had to discuss it. As always, mate, a pleasure to chat to you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah. There is Karis Teetan, who you're expecting to be a key rider on Sunday at Shutty.
Day sweeping at them late. It is California Banner. Bright Day driving and Jimmy Orman grabs a double. Bright Day, positive smile. Excel Wong Choi, Good Luck Babe on the inside. In Super's getting out late. What a finish. Good Luck Babe just in front. Good Luck Babe. Argento Ocean. The grey went to the lead from Everstar, but it's Argento Ocean. Won at the start. Fired out. Let all the vibes go and beat them all.
And that is just a snippet, so a round of applause for you, Hutch. Brilliant work. Who jumps in the sweet in defeat?
Yeah, well, we need the sweet in defeat file to find a few of those early winners, and some of them can end up nice prices, as we saw with Bright Day. And there's another Bright Mortar. And I wanted to show this horse because he was actually in a beautiful position for Harry Bentley, and about now he needed, I think, either to come back and start to look to get out, and he just erred on the side of caution. I've been loving the way that Harry's been riding this season, but he just missed a little bit of a boat here, and he was a play for us the other night, Bright Mortar, and I think he was travelling well enough to figure in the finish. You can see here it ended up a horror watch back on the inside. His work leading into this had been pretty good. So you can see the beaten margin there, Rich, is going to be quite significant. Didn't mind the way he closed off after that heavy interference, and like I said, he was sort of in the right spot. I'm not saying he would have won, but I think he could have run well, and he just needed to probably have a little bit more foresight what was going to happen at that stage of the race. Eternal Fortune will strip fit a second up. Now, King Lotus, I know Shane was making a good case for the other day, and it was a great run. And, of course, Bright Mortar was the other one. It's a little bit of guesswork, Shane, but sometimes you've got to just, I know you've said in the past, it's hard to know where they would have finished, but sometimes you just got to have a bit of guesswork in the game, don't you?
I think Bright Mortar was also going 1200, 1650 first time and second run, wasn't he, Clint? Yeah. So he's going to improve. Definitely.
He will. He's lightly raced. So there you go, Richard.
Now, and what is, I'm hearing lapsap. What is lapsap?
Lapsap in Cantonese is rubbish. Oh. Now, when you were away, we created a new file in Form Files, and probably should have had a few more races in previous programs, but I was saving it for you. That's a lapsap. It's the rubbish. Oh, now, I've got some races out here. Now, Metro Power is a race that rated really well with us, 82. The form out of it is not good at all. There's been a stack of them run. These other races aren't highly rated races in terms of the overall figure for me, but we just want to point out some races not to trust the form with necessarily. So Metro Power, 9 horses, 17 starters, 2 have placed. Here you can see that this is on HUTCHI'S website, and we have the post ratings and where the format of the races. You can see Alfonso, Lucky Out have both been placed, but look at all the other runners in that race that have competed. There's 9 of them, 17 starts, and only 2 have run a place. Master of all those horses, all those starters. In fact, in that race, there's been 13 horses, 25 starters, and we've only had a few placing. Keen Molly, Endeared, and down the bottom, Sharpen, Bright. And here's another one, Bull Attitude.
What about Hutch, any other good form races?
Yep, that we do have, Richo. So we've got a few of those races that haven't worked out well that we've highlighted. Here's a race that really has worked out well from earlier in the season. Max Q, he came out and won. Strathpepper, Fantastic Funds won 2. We've got Celtic Times down there that has won as well about 3 starts later. Now, where this might pertain to a race coming up, Positive Smile ran 4th in this race. He's run 2nd since. He could be one to keep a close eye on this weekend. So we want to use the race strength. You've got bad races, you've got good races. But now you've been sort of come to the Lups Up file.
Yeah, which is interesting because now I've learned a lot about some of the things. You've been calling me Lups Up for a long time, and I didn't realise why. And also, when I look at that rubbish bin and that beautiful whole group of bananas, why have you thrown them in the bin?
Yeah, well,
they look magnificent. Hey, idle time now. Well, it's idle time, Golden Boy. Hong Kong rides, who did you like?
Well, there was a couple, Karis, of course, on Super Hong Kong, but this one, Ragnar Sack. Watch this from gate 10. This is an outstanding ride, especially C track. So he's out there, but you have a look how many times he's looking to get in. He keeps looking, he comes across, and you see he finds a gap up here, but he's still looking. He must have had like 15 looks, and he sees a little gap, so he just gives him a bit of a squeeze to go forward here. There, and he gets in, and he pops in, 3 back the fence. From gate 10, that doesn't happen. And then he set on his mind the whole race, I'm staying on the fence, I'm not getting off the fence. And it was just a perfect ride, Clint.
Oh, it was. It was like Mission Impossible trying to get to the fence there at the Valley. So you could have thought he was Tom Cruise. But I tell you what, it was an amazing ride, and it makes the difference. I mean, you see the margin the horse won by. There was good speed, like you said. Zach knows it as well, Shane. He knows he hasn't got a lot up his sleeve, so he's got to do all these little things in order to get the win.
Well, that's the difference between winning and losing, correct. And of course, he saved ground and he quickened air. If he was back 3 deep circling them, he can't win.
No.
And he only just won, and he's just a horse, and it's a Class 5 horse. Third horse got home well, but he shouldn't have won, and it was the ride that won the race, so they should be giving him double for that.
And the horse he beat came out and won on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's right. And the flashing
Yeah.
home was outstanding as well. So does he get the 3 votes for that, Shane?
Yes, he does. Karis did very well on Super Hong Kong. That was a great ride. And Luke Ferraris on I Can, he tracked up at the right time down the back, and like he was 50-1, and because he tracked up, he won. I thought Alexi Bedell gave Day Victor a very good ride also. So Zach's starting to pull away now, boys.
Yeah, he is. He's on 11 votes versus Jerry on 6. So we're expecting some of the other stars to start to bring their muscle out a little later on in the season, Shane. We might move on because I want your opinion on some other rides globally as well, because we move towards global racing. Let's look at global racing, and from a World Pool point of view, the great racing continues around the globe with concentration on fabulous Flemington for Champions Day, but also Group 1 racing in Munich in Germany. And that's the beauty of the World Pool. You can cover it throughout, and you can be playing along all day from Australia to Germany. We've had an unbelievable week here at fabulous Flemington, highlighted by the great race, the race that we say stops the nation here in Australia, and that is the Melbourne Cup. And history, the second female rider ever to win the Cup 10 years after the first, so Jamie Mellom, but she's the first to win the Caulfield and Melbourne Cup double.
Yeah, this was an amazing ride from Jamie Mellom. Shane, patient, she weaved a passage. Look, we've got some different angles, which we'll talk about another time, but when you do see it in its entirety, and particularly the bird's eye view of everything, it was just an amazing effort to get up and weave a passage like she did.
Yeah, remember 2 years ago I did a story on RaceNet and I got criticised about Jamie, and I said she was the second best rider, but she was impatient in big races, and at the 600 she was getting off the fence and circling them on a cup on it. She should have won a Melbourne Cup. She changed there, and that was perfect. That was a sensational ride. And to win Melbourne Cups, that's how you got a ride, and it just was perfect. Congratulations to her. It was fantastic, and it's great for racing, her winning it. It's fantastic.
Absolutely brilliant for racing. The favourite, Shane, was the grey horse from over from France in Presage Nocturne. What did you make of it?
Oh, well, he just got put out of the race from the word go by Joel McNeil. There's no doubt about that. Like the 24, the grey, here, he's trying to be one off the fence, Joel. And what you've got to understand is, and he clips heels here with Land Legend in front too, and he made his horse pull. But down the side here, you'll see it on the overhead shot. He was trying to be one off the fence, and all he did was lay on the grey horse like anything up here. You'll see it up here. He's trying to get in. Well, there's another shot. It's an overhead shot, but he just laid on it. Here it is here. And he just forced him the whole way in, and then he turned him sideways at one start. You can't do that. It cost his horse any chance of winning Giles, Valiant King, and it gave the other horse no hope. So they were out of the race 200 metres after the start because the other jockey on Valiant King wanted to do that. So he had a big excuse. I've ridden horses like that who's got buffeted the whole race. You can't do anything and you take all that energy out. He had a huge excuse, and I don't think people quite realise how big of an excuse it was.
Yeah, the only thing worse than the ride was probably the commentary from part owner John O'Neill post-race, blaming Pasquier and Moreira for Valiant King's antics. So, I mean, he blundered, of course, and ran into the clipped heels into the back of Joe. If he wants to go, he goes. It's got nothing to do with Valiant King. And, I mean, poor old Pasquier must be thinking, what's going on in Australia? There's no room. I'm already here. So I think it was a bit harsh, to be honest. And I think it's all right to have an opinion, but you've got to have it loosely based on fact, at least.
Right, okay. Yeah.
That wasn't fact.
Yeah, exactly.
He was just not happy. He should have been blaming his jockey for the ride,
Correct.
not the other two.
Correct.
Yeah, there we go. What about Observer in the Derby?
Yep.
Look, who knows if he stays a really solid 2,500 metres. He might be showing a little mahogany, this guy. He might have just been too talented for them. They nursed him. I think when he gets as a fully, furnished horse, as a 4-year-old and the like, I think he's going to be an elite 2,000-metre horse.
I agree.
Oh, 100%. This was a great ride because he could have pulled quite hard in front, but he had him relaxed.
And here's Forever Young, who we have the form reference through Romantic Warrior.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see him, isn't it? I mean, what a world we're living in now. We've got the best sprinters in the globe are all Kiwis. We've got an Australian stayer winning the Melbourne Cup, and we've got the Japanese belting up the Americans on the dirt.
What an incredible point.
Hey, Richo, I'm being serious here. I've been back, 5 years now, and I think the class of horse in Australia wasn't that good, but I'm telling you now, right at this stage, we've got some fantastic horses 12 months away in Australia. That Tenderus in the sprint, it's a superstar.
Oh, yeah.
Tentarus, it's a superstar. I think another horse, I wrote a few down, Shangri-La Boy, he could be anything. He should have won the spring champion. He's the 3-year-old that could be a Cox Plate horse, I reckon. Observer's going to go to another level. Autumn Boy, Autumn Glow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of very, very good horses in Australia at present. And of course, as Clint said, the only bred horse in the Melbourne Cup was half yours and it won. So congratulations. It's fantastic.
Hard to believe. One Aussie bred horse wins the great race, and well done to the McAvoys, Tony and Calvin. They thoroughly and utterly deserve that. So Tony's got Caulfield Cup, Melbourne Cup alongside his Cox Plate, so he just needs a slipper to be the 9th trainer to join that elite group. I'm talking about elite group. What about this elite group of riders that have signed up for the Longines International Jockey Challenge? What a championship. What an amazing group.
This is fantastic. And how good. We've interviewed Umberto Rispoli on the show before. We're gonna catch up with him while we're there for the week. But J-Mac, Willie Buick, Holly Doyle's obviously there. Hopefully Ryan Moore will be back. Great that the club have added Joe Moreira because we weren't sure. So he, with his experience and expertise up there, and Barcelona winning it last year. So I'll tell you what, you'd go a long way to get a better list of riders in form. And Rachel King, how good is it? She just keeps going around the world and performing in all these.
Well, that's right. She deserves an invite back. She won a race last year. So there's 2 spots left. The leading eligible freelance jockey as at the 26th of November, and the highest ranked jockey as of the 26th of November. They will get the last 2 spots. So let's have a little look who that could be.
Jerry's running well, Shane. I know he's second on the Idol, so that's a bit of a guide. If they need to go back and just sort of, if they need to go back and have a look, so, what do we do here? Go to the Idol. Shane.
Luke's flying and he doesn't get many good rides.
Yeah, he is going.
He just keeps winning on roughies. Another 50-1 winner the other night, I see, but he just doesn't get many opportunities. But when he does, he takes advantage of it. So he's going well, 13 winners for the rides he's had.
So lots to look forward to on Saturday from a World Pool scenario. Champions Day at Flemington into Group 1 racing in Munich in Germany as well. But at Flemington, we'll concentrate on these 3 huge Group 1s. And they've modelled this on the Hong Kong model and also the Champions Day in Ascot as well. It's absolutely perfect. The best sprinters, the best milers and the best middle distance. Let's start with the sprint, Hutch.
Yeah, it's just good sprint. Now, Tentarus that we've been talking about, of course, may not start if it's a wet track. They are tipping 6 to 10 degrees at Flemington, and there could be rain about. So we'll have to wait and see. I hope we do see him, Shane, because as you mentioned, he looks that next generation of sprinter coming through. And I know Richo was making a good case for Tempted in the Everest, which ran so boldly into a placing. And this guy might be another cog or 2 above.
Yeah.
He's above Tempted, this horse. He's a superstar, this horse. He quickens like his win at the start before this at Caulfield. Horses don't do that, and it told me how good he was. He's a superstar.
Now, if it is a wet track, that won't put off this guy, Giga Kick.
Well, he might not run if it's a wet track, Tentyrus.
Tentyrus,
but
correct.
Giga Kick will run and will be suited. And he was back last start, Shane. I think, for our viewers overseas, when you are playing to the races, Tentyrus is the one to beat. But if it's wet and he doesn't run, Giga Kick, he'd be the way I'd be suggesting him to play.
Okay, so you're going to...
Yeah, and they also say Jolly Star's not at her best on a heavy track also, Yeah. That's what I'm hearing. So, that the field drops away if Jolly Star and Tentyrus struggle on a heavy track, doesn't it? And it rains.
I think,
mind you, we were told on Tuesday it was going to be heavy, and they had no rain.
Well, they did have rain, but they've got a remarkable track which drains incredibly. They had 30 mils in 24 hours, yet they had a soft track that was constantly upgraded.
Probably one of the best track managers in the world, and Liam O'Keefe. And that track is glorious. That track,
brilliant drainage,
and it's fair. There was no bias. That's the best thing. It was very fair.
So, do you have Tentyrus on top?
I do.
If it runs?
With a little asterisk that if he doesn't run, then we'll go with Giga Kick. But Tentyrus, I'm with. I underestimated how good he was, and you guys, I know, were strong on him. But sounds like, Shane, you'll be with Tentyrus as well.
Look, if the track's all right and he handles a slow track or what, he wins. They can't beat the horse.
Yeah.
He'll just sit back and be too good. Now, if it's heavy, that's a different ball game. But if the track's all right, they cannot beat him.
If he runs, he's the best bet of the day.
Yep.
If it's too wet, then a roughie like Magic Time will absolutely swim.
Like that.
Now, the Champions Mile, this is the highlight because Via's dominating the 2,000 metre. This is the absolute highlight.
Whiz, I tell you, hasn't Via struck a weak field for the 2,000? Wow. And this is inundated with good horses. Conditions could really suit a leader this day if the southerly winds rear their head, Shane. So that was the case when Pride of Jenny won back-to-back a couple of years ago, and she was allowed to get away with it here, but it was great to see her back in form, and it was a dominant win once again.
Yeah, I can't catch her. She's so hard to catch. If she does this, she just wins. And they all tell me it could be a leader's track with the way the track's going to race and the wind and all this. I don't know. But if she reproduces this and cuts them apart, she's going to be hard to beat. But the problem with her this time is you got Treasure the Moment who's going to take the field up, so she's not going to get a good break. This is a good form race, Clint, in Sydney.
It is.
The King Charles.
It is. And the blinkers went on Chow Wolf. And that could be the key factor. Apart from the track pattern or the weather pattern, the difference in that other race at Flemington, there were a lot of back markers. There was never really going to be any pressure from her. This day there was. Brightside was huge. Treasure the Moment, they've already said, Matt Lauren and team, they're not going to let her get too far away. So that field, I think, will be more condensed, and it'll be one of the best races of the whole spring, I think, the mile on the weekend. And
Steffi Magnetica is always underestimated by the market. In that replay there, the two Godolphin horses, one with the blue cap, Tom Kitten, runs in the 2,000, and the one with the white cap, Pericles, runs at a huge price in the mile. Yeah. So who have you got on top?
Gee, it was a tough race to... I'm going to go Treasure the Moment. I've been with her all prep. She's sort of been on the back foot a little bit after that mishap, after winning the Memsie, but I think she gets the right run on the weekend, and her run on the Cox Plate was terrific.
What do you think, Shane?
Look, the good thing about... I'm going to go Mr. Brightside because he's consistent and I've got no idea what's going to win. But I know he'll always run well and he likes it wet. The good thing about this race, Richo, is every horse there loves it wet. Like you got Like a Lucy down the bottom who's going well, just needs the right circumstances. She flew in New Zealand on a wet track. I think she was 2 for 2 and they were quite wet. So it's a great race. They're going to get their chances with Pride of Jenny in. It's just a matter whether she can handle it and the rest can run her down.
It's interesting, isn't it? With Pride of Jenny in the race and on a rain-affected track, it means that you've got to be tough. And Shane's selection, Mr. Brightside, is certainly
Well, he
tough.
is, and he was great in the Sydney race, wasn't he? The King Charles.
Good.
I mean, he did a lot of
Fantastic.
work.
What a champ.
It was a brilliant run.
What a champ.
Yeah.
And then
he's normally over the odds too.
Oh, always. No, you're right. Underestimated throughout. This Champion Stakes is dominated by the number one horse in Australia in Via Sistina.
And it looks, what would you say in golf terms, a tap-in?
Well, it does if she didn't win the Cox Plate by 8 lengths like she did the previous year, and it was a tap-in last year in a harder field.
It was harder last year.
Now it's an easier field, but is she going as well?
Well, she might not be, but I think she can the Cox Plate for not this year, last year was off the charts. But this year was probably more like what she produces, and she was good. And she could run 2 lengths below this sort of figure and still win. So there's not the depth in the field. Shane, the only thing is, if I suppose where there was a hard run for her, and is it going to take its toll? But like I said, she doesn't have the depth of opposition in this field. She scared them all away.
Look, she's a tough old mare, 8-year-old or something, and she just keeps going all day. She's going to win, you'd think. Like, we all know she's never reproduced that run from the Cox Plate 12 months ago. She doesn't need to, Clint, I don't think. These aren't that good in this race.
No.
The best horses are in the mile.
She's a champ. You can see why you've both gone for Via Sistina. Hey, G1 Goldmine, we've touched on a couple of runners that they certainly highlighted in their profiles.
Yeah, definitely. 10 Tyrus was one. 6 gold there. If you use this in terms of course, both he and Observer with the Godolphin. And Pride of Jenny, I know Tony Otobre regularly loses Group 1 Goldmine with a lot of his purchases.
Fantastic. So it's a look at what's going to be.
And you know where you might also need them? The Breeze Up sales as well.
Breeze Up. Boom.
Yeah.
Karaka.
Racing horses in Hong Kong is like few other places in the world. You need to be a member of the Hong Kong Jockey Club and be granted a permit to race a horse via their annual ballot. As time changes though, so does the focus on where the next gen of owners come from. The man tasked with helping to address racing into the future is James Ross, Head of Racing Commercial.
Thanks, Nicole. Look, it's critically important to continue to grow ownership, and I know globally it's been something that's been the focus of racing administrators, but particularly here in Hong Kong, we're very focused on developing our ownership base, and we've seen really pleasing results in the last couple of years. Our current owners are up 7% year on year, and over 3,000 owners in total in Hong Kong, which is particularly exciting for the racing industry here in general. It's enabled our horse population to grow just around the 1,300 mark, and I think that positivity is really flowing through the broader ownership base, and more generally in Hong Kong. I think people are wanting to be part of the Jockey Club and really keen on expanding their ownership interest, which is exciting for everybody involved in the Hong Kong racing industry.
What's the balance between increasing a horse population whilst also ensuring there is still quality animals being bought to race?
It's always important to strike a balance of maintaining your horse population, but continually focusing owners on ways to find really good horses. I think in Hong Kong we've always been very focused on developing prize money. We have over $1.7 billion in prize money in Hong Kong, and an average race prize money of $2 million Hong Kong, which is an amazing benchmark globally. And I think that incentivizes owners to go out, spend the right amount of money on securing horses. And we've also been very focused in delivering bonuses, particularly in horses' first year in Hong Kong, but also their first win bonus is really important. And I think now we've got about $100 million in bonuses. We've got horses not only in raced horses getting a PP bonus, but also unraced horses getting a PPG bonus. And in many ways that is a way of rewarding, but also returning to owners and focusing them on high quality bloodstock from around the world. We've seen so many good horses come to Hong Kong, and even at the moment to have the likes of Romantic Warrior, Kaiying Rising, Voyage Bubble, selected by our owners in different ways, for example from PPGs to ISG. That's been a very satisfying journey for those owners to go out, to be focused on high quality bloodstock and to get the returns from winning flagship Group 1 races in Hong Kong.
Have the needs of owners in 2025 changed from say 10, 20, 30 years ago? And if yes, how do you try to cater to that?
Throughout the world, the ownership experience is critical. On race day is something we've been particularly focused on, delivering world-class hospitality and ensuring that ownership experience is something that's really premium, not only for the individual owner, but for their guests. We want our owners having more stable visits. We want them to interact with their horses. This year, absolutely accelerating the ability for owners to attend Chung Fa, our training facility in China, which will soon be racing in 2026. I think that's been a really unique part of the ownership proposition.
So in recent years, James, the Hong Kong Jockey Club has opened up ownership to international owners. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, interesting program. I think we've provided some select opportunities to people around the world, people with large racing operations or breeding operations who are committed to sending horses to Hong Kong. They've been able to receive an international ownership permit. And I think that's part of how Hong Kong's playing a role in global racing. We're seeing so many people watch Hong Kong racing. Visitation is accelerating in recent years for people to attend the bucket list events in Hong Kong, not only Hong Kong international races, but FWD Champions Day.
What new ownership pathways are you looking to open up in the future?
We're probably more structured than most jurisdictions. I think our syndication option, where owners would be in a group of between 5 and 50 other owners, that's been our fastest growing form of ownership in recent years. And seeing such success from horses like Kaiying Rising and Voyage Bubble, who are large syndicates. I think the Voyage Bubble team might have broken the record last year for the most number of people in a winning photo. That's been a great advertisement for people to expand ownership interests with groups of friends, and I can only see that growing. And the celebrations that I've seen at Hong Kong tracks just this season alone have really added a lot of energy to our racing.
Yeah, great to hear from James Ross there. And any opportunity to get more and more people into thoroughbred ownership is brilliant. So well done to everyone involved there. Hey, let's get into our social stable. And we start our social stable with Blake Shin. So get well soon, Blake. He would have been up in Hong Kong, but he's going to be sidelined with that broken leg.
It's a real shame, isn't it, for Blake? So get well. When you see that happen late stages of a race and you have that fall, your heart's in your mouth, isn't it? But good to see. He actually was discharged yesterday, I think. So let's hope he has a quick recovery. Great
news as well. And well done to the Melbourne Racing Club with their foundation. And everyone in racing is getting around a quality young man in Tom Preble. There's a GoFundMe page. Please make sure that you go into the correct one, not the parasite that's got a separate one that's trying to steal money off people and scam people. This is the one that you need to go to as well. And Keegan DeMello, an early release heading home.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not an easy place, Hong Kong, and Keegan will be going back, and I think the jockey roster in general could see some changes probably in the coming months as it, works its way out in terms of people that have done well and those that haven't.
Okay, best bets. Best bets time, Hutch. Who do you like?
Yeah, I'm going to make the best. You're going to have to wait till very late in the day, Richo. So I think Light Years Charm's got a great chance. He will need a bit of speed in the race, but I think it's an easier race for him. Zach knows him well. Dave Eustace will no doubt have him fitter. And he's a horse that's got a bit of upside as well. And I really like Encountered. I think Encountered will be backable too at the price. I like the lightweight. Hopefully Karis can get it done. You know what happens when you come on the show.
I know.
You ride winners.
Get a little bit of that lucky sprinkle on top. That's it. Golden Boy, who do you like?
I'm going race 3, number 1, Zach on Circuit Ferry. Its runs have been good. It's got gate 3. It's going to box seat. It gets its chance. It's quite a good class 5, that race though, Clint. Anyway, good luck, boys. I'm off to New Zealand for the sales next week. And then you
can use these the ready-to-runs there next week, Shane. It looks a great sale.
It is. There's a lot of nice horses in there, a lot. So it'll be a good 2 or 3 days. See you later, boys.
Yeah, put Richo's name down for a couple. He's ready to go. Yeah, that'll be great.
I got sheets coming your way, Golden Boy. Hope you enjoy the show. See you next week, everyone.